Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be going through the top teams to run for Dauntless squad after like the 2 hours of testing which have been done. Okay, now the crazy thing is, look at my top score, 122.9, basically 123 billion damage. It was done with a team without RHYS even on it. The overall top score I got today was using a team without RHYS. It was put together by Rymz, so credit to him for coming up with this. And it is crazy. It was outperforming, and I did like 3 to 4 runs of all the other options using RHYS as well. So basically, if you don't have RHYS, you don't need to worry. But Seth is pretty important. Yeah, I mean, the only replacement for Seth would be Soren, but it is not a good replacement, and you're going to have a lower score. Anyway, here is the team formation. We're going to take a look at the replay as well. So Smokey and Seth on the buff tiles. You're going to have Smokey and Mikola both on team number 1 as well as Shakira to gain as much value of the attack buffs because you have 5 allies on team number 1. Team number 2 is going to be Elsa and Odie on the buff tiles. They contribute a lot of damage, and Coco is kind of just like the support to keep them alive, give them the life drain buff, and then the shielding from her ultimate, resonating spell on the Odie. Now I use the Gale charms onto Odie, but today a lot of people are also testing and having good results with insight charms. So for Odie, both options are usable, and it is just depending on which one you have. For Elsa, I'm running the overloaded charms. They are considered the best, but if you have like Bloodlust, they're a good option as well. Coco, we have sturdy charms, but they don't really matter. Arcane charms onto Mikola. Kruger is on a broken, but if you had Mystic set, Mystic charms, those would probably be the good option. Shakira have Mystic charms, Smokey has recovering, and Seth has the Mystic charms as well. And here are the formations as you can see. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a look at replay of team number 1. But this was crazy. On my first attempt using this team, I was just running it to show you guys like a good option if you don't have RHYS. And it ended up breaking the record after I've done like 15 runs of the teams using RHYS, so all the different teams. But I'll show you guys those team formations as well, because who knows, maybe depending on your account and your RNG, those teams may be better for you. So we're going to show those team options as well. But this is really crazy. Like, this positioning is really nice. You have, like, I mean, Seth is right in the middle, being buffed up by the Shakira, I believe. Smokey's aura is reaching all of the allies. Mikola's on the right side, and her Curse Sphere is also reaching the Seth. It's just ramping up the Seth like crazy. And if someone had, for example, like a plus 15 exclusive equipment set, and they refined his charms, they had him Paragon 4, like, imagine the potential of a team like this. Even like the set that I have here is dealing over 30 billion damage. And I have them on the Mystic Charms. I don't know if they are the best, but a lot of people are having great results with the Mystic Charms. 67.8 billion damage on team number 1. That is crazy. That is really crazy. Team number 2 must have not done great in terms of damage, because normally team number 1 gets around 63 or 64 billion, even on like the good RHYS teams you're running. Okay, but team number 2 now doesn't have Smokey, it doesn't have Elsa, Mikola, and so you're missing out on attack buffers, but still the raw damage of Odie and Elsa is pretty high. Another option people have tried in team number 2 here is they've run Elsa with the resonating spell rather than Odie, but still having both on the buff tiles, so that is another team you can try. And then all the other team formations we're going to show you basically have either Odie Elsa with Smokey to heal them as a support, or Elsa as a support. So basically on team number 2, everyone is pretty much running Odie and Elsa on the buff tiles with one support, either Coco or Smokey or Elsa, depending on what you're running on team number 1. And then your physical team on team number 1. This is what most people are doing. However, we have talked about some teams with a physical team on team number 2 with like Great Sword Spell, and team number 1 can have a magical team, but looking at, as of the testing which is done so far after the hotfix, it is looking like the physical team is a better option for team number 1 and magical on team number 2. Okay, so 50.5 billion damage. The only thing we want to watch here is, does the team ever get low and at a risk of dying? Because sometimes team 2 can die, even team 1 can die, depending on if they have not enough healing. But here it looks pretty safe. Yeah, like as long as you have a Coco at Mythic Plus, it should be safe enough for her to sustain and keep your team alive. The shielding probably helps a lot. Okay, so those were the two teams for that. Okay, now I'm going to show you the other team. So I got another 122 billion team run, and that was with this team formation. And this was the old formation, which was the recommended team last week, with RHYS and Seth on the buff tiles, Mikola off in the left lower corner, and then Shakir and Kruger. Again, physical team number 1. Frontline spell on team number 1 is always going to be the way to go. Because that is going to power up the set more. Team number 2 using Smokey, Elsa, and Odie. And if you take a look at this team, now team number 2 contributes a lot more damage than the other team with Coco and Elsa, because you're going to have the attack buffer, you have some damage from Smokey of his own, Odie's damage is higher, Elsa's damage is, I think, a bit higher. But then your team number 1 will have lower damage. Like I said, team number 1 will range between 63 to 64 billion, but then team number 2 is going to make up for that damage. So all in all, they come out to almost equal 122 billion, and then our overall record is also 122 billion, but almost 123. Okay, now there is a new team formation that I need to show you guys, and this was come up with by Rickettsia, and people have managed to even get 125 or 126 billion damage today. However, keep in mind, I have run this team probably 8 times. I ran it 4 times with Gale charms onto Odie, and then four times with Insight charms onto Odie, because people were having varying results with those 2 charms, but it seemed like it was really just down to RNG which one performed better. But basically, these were the team formations with RHYS, with all the heroes unlocked, but it didn't even get 122 billion for me, even after running it 8 times. I kept getting maximum 121, but it was really consistent. Almost all of the scores were 120 or 121 billion damage. It never got below that. And yeah, team number 2 here. Some people again tried Elsa on the other buff tile. People have tried like Arcane Spell on team number 2 with the Smoky team or with this Mikola team. People have basically tried for the magical team Resonating Spell or Arcane Spell, either Elsa on the Resonating tile, but more people are having better results with Odie on the Resonating tile, and that is what I would recommend. Team number 1 did a lot of damage here, like Seth did over 30.5 billion damage, and then team number 2 also did a good amount, but I don't know, even though this team is doing really well for people, it just didn't do the best for me, and the only thing I can think of is that maybe Mikola doesn't get as much value being in team 2 compared to like in team 1, where you have more grouped up allies who can be buffed up. But yeah, I mean, it is really close. So this is another great team formation to run. And then what I did was I did some other team testing. So I tried, this is another team you can run if you don't have RHYS, but we just showed you a better team option. If you don't have RHYS, that got 122 billion, because basically the issue with this team is Coco on team 1 rather than Mikola on team 1. And it is a lot better if you have Coco on the team 2 and have the Mikola on the team 1, and that is what we showed at the beginning of this video, and the replay of that, because it ends up being higher damage, and Coco is just a better support for team number 2. Mikola will power up all of your damage from all of your allies on team number 1, which is more value to you. So Mikola team number 1. And then I tried a Soren team. So for example, okay, what we're going to do one final try right now. If you don't have Seth, I think use this like if you don't have Seth, I'm going to assume you probably don't have RHYS either. But let's say you have Soren built up for whatever reason. Probably there are not a lot of people who fall into this like position, but then you can run this team. Soren on the buff tile instead of Seth. Obviously you're not going to get as high of a damage because Soren's damage is a lot lower than Seth. However, he still does contribute decent damage himself, and it can get you up to 109 billion, which is, well, obviously the investment on this account is really high, so maybe it can't get you that high, but it can be fine. Whoa, this was really weird. Like, Soren himself hardly contributed anything, but the damage of the other heroes is insane. Like, look at the Mikola burning damage. I don't understand what really happened here, but yeah, either Soren or you can try Brutus even if you don't have Soren. Like any, for example, melee hero running into the front for the frontline spell and buffing up like your other, like from Shakir's attack buff and stuff. So anyway guys, that is pretty much going to be it for the top teams you can try for the Dauntless squad. Hopefully you can get a top score from one of these teams, and good luck with that. And if there are any other top teams that come out, I will let you know. And also, either later at the end of today or maybe tomorrow, I'm going to make a full compilation of the #1 top team for all 4 different Thalassa squads. because my guildmate Splash has been running basically the top teams, and he just has to run one from Dauntless squad today, and he shared them with me. And we're going to watch the replays, we're going to go through the top teams, and also talk about the top charms that he was using. So anyway guys, that is going to be it for this video. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video, and until then, everyone peace out for now, and thank you for watching.